Yeah, it's particularly the last few days, just as the reality of this thing's happening. It's not overwhelming. It's just you look around and go, "Wow, what an honor, what a privilege." It's very humbling. It really is. Like, no one does anything to get here on your own. You do, but it's very humbling.
It's pretty amazing.
It is that. It is that. Amazing.
You ready, Zach?
You good? All right. Good to go?
Yeah, I'm rolling.
Okay. I mean, this is an incredible time for you.
It is.
We're literally days away from you moving in here at the Capitol and this being your office. How you feeling right now?
Yeah, I'm excited, very excited. I'm humbled, honored. It's as it's gotten closer, the reality of the fact that Tennesseans have placed their confidence in me to lead the state at the highest level of executive branch is inspiring and humbling and honoring all at the same time. And it's a great opportunity that I'm privileged to have and excited about doing it.
I mean, what an incredible transition. Everyone knows now you're a successful businessman. At some point along your journey as a businessman, you decided running for governor of Tennessee was right for you.
Mm-hmm.
The transition now, I know it's becoming real for you. It's a few days away. What does that look like for you, the transition?
Yeah, it's quite a change of life. But interestingly, after the election, the transition process is very much a lot of the same type of things you do in business. So we're picking a cabinet and senior positions, and you select a leadership team. The difference is that you do it in 75 days instead of over a period of time for business. But you pick leaders and you get your arms around a budget and manage a budget. And we certainly do that in business. You have to understand the finances and know what things cost and what the restrictions are of the budget. I'm a very fiscal conservative guy who wants to manage a budget conservatively. And then you set your priorities and you decide what you're going to do. In this case, it's legislative, and you work with the legislature, which is really different than running a business. But the principles are similar, and I'm really excited and encouraged with where we are in the process. We're about complete with our cabinet level positions. We got our hands around the budget, I think, and I know that we do. And we're starting to actually put some specifics together for a legislative package.
You're going to be ready for Saturday.
I'm going to be ready for Saturday, come rain, sleet, or snow. I think it might be all three. So,
I wanted to ask you about your personal life, but you mentioned the legislative session. So I'd like to just jump there for a minute. We're in a session right now. You're coming in. You're the incumbent. People are wondering, what can we get past Bill Lee? This might be a session of legislature where people are like, let's try. Let's go for it. Let's see what flies.
Yeah.
They're going to try that. They may test you. We're still trying to figure out what your agenda is.
Yeah.
What is your agenda? What this first year as you step into office, what is something you would really like to accomplish?
Let me first say that I have met with the leaders in the House and the Senate and committee leaders and the leadership of both parties, and I'm a guy who really believes that if we want to get things done, then we're going to work together. And I really look forward to that. And I want them to get to know me, and I want to know them, because I do think genuinely and generally we have people that are all wanting to advance the state and do what's right for Tennessee. And so I think I look forward to working together with the legislature. Our priorities, I campaigned for 2 years almost, and in that campaign process, I came to believe that whether you lived up in East Tennessee or Middleton and Nashville or out west, people want a good job and a good school for their kid and a safe neighborhood. and those are going to be our priorities. Education is a top priority, and particularly for me, being a person that has been engaged in skilled trades all my life, in the business that I used to be engaged in, vocational, technical, agricultural education, also have an ag background. So those are really important to me. Those are going to be things we're working on legislatively, strengthening those kinds of programs across the state. Reentry programs, safer neighborhoods through the way we look at criminal justice reform and reentry. Those are some of the things that will be priorities for me.
You can have bills coming across your desk.
Yep.
You have power. You can sign the bill into law. You can refuse to sign it into law.
Right.
So I'm going to put you on the spot.
Mm-hmm.
Is there something that could come across your desk this year that you will refuse?
Oh, I could imagine that there might be. You know, you have to look. The specifics, you don't know. Until you see bills specifically and exactly what that bill is, then I can't comment on whether or not I would veto a bill or not. But I hope that I don't have to do that, because what I hope is that we work together to come up with legislation that is good for Tennessee. And I can imagine that it might happen, but I can imagine more, and I like to think more about how we're going to work together to get things done.
There could be some things presented this year that are controversial. Mm-hmm. We know that. It happens.
Right.
Medical marijuana is one thing that's on the agenda this year. Ways to handle the opioid crisis. Alternatives for the opioid crisis.
Right.
Is there any hard line that you have on any of those issues?
Oh, I don't have hard lines on anything. Well, that's not true. There are certainly things. You could continue to list things off. I'll tell you where I have hard lines. What I want to do is I want to look at every issue, and I want to look at all sides of that issue and then make a decision. There are certainly things that I feel very strongly about, and I've talked about those particularly on the campaign trail, and I continue to talk about them today. And I will oppose things that I feel strongly against, and I will work hard to get things done that I feel strongly about. So yeah, that'll happen. That's part of this process. It's part of the great democratic process that we have and how it works in this state.
We had a lot of questions on social media today. People wanted me to ask you about traffic.
Oh, really?
Can you comment on traffic? Is it a problem here in Middle Tennessee?
Of course it's a problem.
Absolutely. Is there anything, Governor, you can do about it?
I appointed a Department of Transportation Commissioner today. If you go on social media, you'll find that. You know, transportation, infrastructure, roads, bridges, it's really important. It can either slow down economic development, it can enhance it, and economic activity. I used to be involved in a company that had hundreds of vehicles, and when those vehicles are sitting in traffic, then it's costing that company money. And so I knew firsthand what a problem traffic can be and how we need to make sure that we work hard to resolve those things. There are local issues associated with that, and then there are statewide issues that the state can bring together players to create a broad strategy to solve transportation issues across the state. So you have to work with local jurisdictions to help resolve some of those challenges.
Another thing everybody's concerned about here locally is the cost of living in Nashville.
Yeah.
And obviously there are people who've lived here for decades who don't feel like they can afford it anymore. We had a story this morning how they're looking for affordable housing for school teachers because they can't afford to live here. What are your thoughts on the affordability or anything that can be done in a growing city like Nashville, which is beautiful in so many ways, but also difficult for some?
It is important that we try to find ways to create an environment where people can live of all economic levels, and that really is a local issue. I mean, those decisions are not statewide mandated and shouldn't be. Local, to the degree that we can do things on a local level, that's the way we ought to do them. And that particular issue is one that people address locally. We don't generally touch that with the state. But I think the state can encourage and provide leadership in bringing people together again around issues that affect Tennesseans, like affordable housing.
Let me ask you a broad picture about current events right now. We're in the middle of a government shutdown. There are increasing concerns, whether that's TSA, security, food stamps, things like that. Stepping into this position right now, do you feel a growing angst or concern regarding the government shutdown?
We're certainly watching it because it will begin to, at some point, really impact Tennesseans. And when it does, then we need to step in and do what we can to mitigate that, to address it. Food stamps, you mentioned. The state will intervene. We want to make sure that Tennesseans are protected from the impacts negatively of that shutdown to the degree that we can. So, and those can look different ways the longer it goes. Projects that may not get their funding because of that shutdown. When Tennesseans are negatively impacted, we're going to work hard to intervene. But mostly what we're going to do right now is watch it and hope and do what we can to encourage the federal government to resolve their differences and to come to a way forward.
I know you're on a tight schedule here, but I want to shift gears completely. You've got a very fascinating, captivating story, how you've ended up here, what motivates you. We've heard a little bit about it, but a tragic occurrence happened in your life 18 years ago. Would you tell us a little bit about that?
Yeah, my first wife was killed in an accident on our farm, and I had 4 little kids, and I was in the middle of my career, and it was a life-altering, devastating, life-changing experience. But it also was, as tragic as it was transformative. God uses tragedy oftentimes in our lives to bring about transformation, and that was true in my life. And He walked me through that process in a very powerful way, changed my perspective about raising my kids, running my company, living my life, what I wanted to be engaged in, becoming engaged in things that mattered, and not thinking so much about those things that don't. It actually led me to become more highly engaged in nonprofit work. I got involved in the inner city with youth, and that led to a real passion around education. Mentored a young man in particular for many years. Got involved in reentry programs through a ministry, a nonprofit that worked with incarcerated men, and I mentored a man coming out of prison. Those interests led to public policy and work in public policy and in state public policy. And that's really when and all of that occurred over years. And then I had remarried, and that's when I said to my wife, we should pray about this. And this is something I think that might be a real opportunity for me to serve. And so we did, and we made the decision to jump in. And that was a couple of years ago, and here we are.
Your wife, Maria.
My wife, Maria, yeah.
Future First Lady.
A remarkable lady, yeah, who has driven around in an old RV with me for 2 years, going to stops where sometimes there was very few, a couple stops, no people to meet us. She followed me in a pickup truck following a tractor. We did an RV tour to 95 counties in 95 days twice. We did a tractor tour from Mountain City to Memphis, 758 miles on a tractor. She followed me in a pickup. She's been constantly devoted and by my side for 2 years, and she loves the people of Tennessee. The ones that have met her have come to love her, and she'll make a great First Lady.
Are you going to enjoy this? Are you stressed out, or do you feel like you're going to enjoy it?
I so look forward to it. It's you want to live your life doing purposeful, meaningful work. And that's what brings me joy. So I would enjoy doing purposeful, meaningful work. I can't think of anything for me anyway right now that could be more purposeful and meaningful. So I certainly hope that I enjoy it. I think I'm going to. I've enjoyed it so far. I haven't gotten there yet, but I'm enjoying it right now.
We just have a few more days.
That's right.
Saturday.
That's right.
It becomes official.
That's right.
Sworn in, the prayer, all the pomp and circumstance surrounding the governor of Tennessee. What's the next few days look like? You guys going to be able to relax, enjoy?
For the next 3 days before the inauguration?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, we're going to have. Actually, we'll be home tonight. My wife and I for kind of a quiet evening together before tomorrow. We have family that comes in and are staying with us, and then even more family the next day, and then activities. So after tonight, our house fills up and our schedule fills up, and it's very exciting. We're looking forward to Saturday. Rain or shine.
Rain or shine.
Rain or shine. It looks like it might be rain, but we're looking forward to Saturday.
From the future governor of Tennessee and all the people watching at home, online, right now, is there anything that you want to say to anybody that you'll be serving?
Yeah. I'm honored to serve them. I want to be a governor for every single Tennessean. I want, at the end of my time, for folks to be glad that I was the governor of Tennessee, and not for any other reason than that this state advanced forward, and that we in fact did create an environment where people had better access to a good job, and where people's kids had access to a good education, and where we improved the safety of folks all across this state. I want people to know that I very much look forward to the opportunity to serve.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I really appreciate it.
Thank you.